from everybody else. Daily BLP. Camera's a little off. What's going on? There we go. Your day been all right?
Yeah, it's been good, been busy. It's the turn of the tide here of the weather. I feel like it's a little bit gloomy, and the first day where it's been kind of cold. Wearing a long sleeve tee here, so it's been good though. Good Friday. How about yourself?
Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Just working on a couple of things here. Can't see what's going on. I gotta switch something real quick. Let me make sure. Ah, that's why. Hold on. Camera is stuck because of the way Mac handles Windows.
Yep.
Minimize that bad boy and push this. There, now we're back. Cool. No, it's been a good day. Dealing with issues like normal, but some good stuff, some pain in the butt stuff. We can talk about that though. Cool thing though is after the show yesterday, I had a little bit of time, so I watched your highlight video, and then I went and watched your interview with now his name is
Lyman.
What's that?
Was it Lyman or Wayne?
No, it was the interview with the guy from CPT.
Oh yeah, Blake Wynn. Yep.
Blake.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yep.
I watched that interview with Blake, and that was fascinating.
Yeah, it really was. It's really interesting. The whole I've come to be really fascinated by the whole world of poker there, and just the business aspect, and kind of what he was saying is it has the opportunity to get bigger, especially within I feel like the woman population, because to his point, women love game nights, going, playing cards, stuff like that. It's a game anyone can play too. So no, really great guy. Really appreciate him, and then his co-founder Hayes Pillard. They invited me out for that event, so huge shout out to them. But no, really interesting and really great thing they're doing, and I know it's only been around for a year and a half now, so I'm really confident it's going to blow up as it's consistently been doing.
Yeah, I mean, I what I got out of it was I like that he takes everything, the whole production seriously. That's obvious, but what I like the most is that he doesn't take the game too overly serious from a standpoint of, hey, who are we making front and center here? These are celebrities. Some of them play, most of them don't. We don't try to get in here and sell this thing as like the best celebrity poker players in the world are going to get together and play. It's like celebrities that you like and follow are going to get together, have a good time.
Yep, Exactly. So yeah, really cool, and makes it more enjoyable. Like, if you want to go watch a series of poker, that there's the opportunities there, World Series of Poker and all that stuff. But it's the goal is to make it fun and entertaining and more. I think to his point, more entertainment than try to be kind of a sport, which it is.
Hey, I got a question. Can you hear this if I do this?
Yes, I can hear that.
You can totally hear that.
Yeah.
We don't have to do this, but one of the things I was thinking of doing is like I was gonna share and show the video. Because towards the end, as you get a little bit more liquored up, you're like dropping some F-bombs and stuff, like you're getting into it and kind of razzing the contestants and stuff. It was a cool highlight video. I got to say, the production was good. I'm not just kissing butt here. You did a good job of carrying around a little mic and, being the guy going up to people and asking questions and getting them to comment. So good job on that, man.
No, yeah, thank you. I try to kind of match their energy a little bit too, to make them comfortable, because that's the big thing is just making it quick for them. I was like, hey, can I get 2 seconds of your time? Make it quick, easy. If they're having fun, trying to have fun with them, match their energy. So as we drop the interviews, you'll probably see some of the energy of different people, things like that, because you want to make everyone comfortable. Thought we were able to get some fun, cool things out of people that maybe other interviewers weren't able to get. So yeah, it was a great time. It was a little nerve wracking, but kind of found my groove a little later on.
Yeah, man, I subscribed to the channel.
Thank you, sir.
And yeah, I want to see that other content. So that's cool.
Yep.
No, but getting back to that interview real quick, I think he's got something there that he could really take advantage of. It reminds me a little bit of what I've been trying to study here recently. Obviously, I've talked a little bit about my fascination with Banana Ball recently, right? And it's not just the game, fascinated with the business. Yep. And I've just kind of been diving as much as I can into interviews that Jesse Cole, the owner of that league, gives every once in a while. He talks about, and he does speeches. And I know he's written a book. I want to get a hold of that book and just dive into that, because he's on to something when it comes to what their philosophy is. He talks about how they market, how they do fans first, and kind of the way they've kind of flipped sports on its head by taking it from a different angle. And I heard a little bit of a parallel when I was listening to your interview, because you could tell that he's really trying to create something that is different than quote unquote a competing poker tour, right?
Yep.
Like you talked
Exactly.
about not getting too deep into the analytics and all that kind of stuff, because that gets boring, right? And not for the people who really enjoy that part of the game, right? But that's a market. That's a very, I mean, it's probably a big market, but it's a very laser market. You can talk to those people if you know the game and you know the stats and the charts and the the probabilities of this, that, and the other things and the percentages. But when it comes down to it with this, it's about, capturing moments that happen at these tables and these tournaments from these personalities, because you never know what's going to happen, right?
Yep.
And so I thought that was kind of cool, and trying to do things in a way that speak to the people that are coming in, whether that be the female audience that doesn't typically get into it because of, there's segments of entertainment that women like and that men like, and there's bleed
Yep.
over at the edges, of course. There's a lot of women that like, there's a percentage of women that love poker and love the grind of it, and there's a
Yeah.
percentage of men, and there's a percentage of men who don't. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And you can't bet the farm on those guys when you're doing something like this necessarily, right? But if you make it appealing and you get people at the table that women or females in general or something are interested, they're going to come in and they're going to get exposed to the game and have some fun at the same time.
Yep.
So I thought it was a good interview.
No, yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate it. And yeah, that's another big thing is growing the brand of Pivot. That's obviously the goal of the podcast and doing all this stuff, but as well as, podcasting is a skill. So it's nice to kind of get back in that groove. I hadn't done an internal podcast in, I think, over a year. So as I'm getting in the groove, kind of finding that interview back in. And then to your other point, actually, as we were talking, I looked it up on LinkedIn, the Savannah Bananas owner. I'm going to hit him up to see if he'll come on this podcast for us, because I
Dude.
think that'd be a great opportunity.
I've got ideas that I want to talk to you about offline that I've
Yeah.
just kind of been listing out in my head, and this is what I want to do. Their off season is coming up pretty soon, and I won't get into it too much here because I don't want to put it out in the ether and somebody else steal it. But I got some
Yeah.
things that I want to do in and around that sport creatively from the casting perspective.
Yep.
That that would be amazing. Like, I know
Yep.
he does these kind of shows. He's a bit. He seems like a super dude, and I've never met
Yeah.
him. He seems like he really wants to spread the love when it comes to the success he's had, and that kind of a thing. But if he would, that'd be great. If he doesn't, that's okay too, because I think we can do some stuff that'll create some excitement that maybe gets their attention.
Cool.
So
Sounds
yeah.
good. And that's really cool. And what I'll do is, because I have some great things to talk about too with you. One of them is, I think we've got our next guest lined up who just a little sneak peek doing AI in the gaming world. So kind of cool from our conversation from yesterday. But other than that, yeah, I'll drop a meeting for you next week so we can kind of talk all this. And yeah, stay tuned out there, guys. We got our legacy show, not new. Next
It's a big
guest will
show.
be, yep,
Get ready
big
for the
shows.
monthly big show. So yeah, super
Exciting. Yep.
super excited about that stuff. On another note, I've kind of got prepared a little bit today, so that's nice. That's
Nice.
this. So we covered one of the first things I wanted to cover was we've been talking about that content you dropped. I can't wait to see as you drip it out a little bit more. But if you guys haven't seen it, check out the Pivot Studios YouTube channel. Check out this celebrity poker tour event that he was at last weekend. He's got a great kind of teaser video and some of the stuff that's going to be showing. It's really cool. It's funny and it's well done, as well as check out that interview with Blake, right? Blake's his name?
Yes, sir. Yep. Blake wins. So yeah,
That was
appreciate
really
it,
good one.
Brian.
Dynamic, really
And-
good. I couldn't, I stayed at the office like 40 minutes longer than I should have, because I was just like, this is really good. I got to hear this thing out. So
Yeah.
I
Thank you. I
had to
appreciate
do other things at the same time. I had to download, and when we do these shows in Riverside, the files are pretty big, so I had to download and upload and all that. So I was doing things, but anyway. Other thing I wanted to cover was something that I was dealing with today that I thought would be a good little segment to talk about, because it could be helpful for other business people, whether they're brand new or they're doing things similar to the way we were doing things and they run into this issue. And I know you're doing some of these things now too with doing email campaigns and stuff. So Let me ask you a quick question. You're doing email campaigns now to bigger lists, right?
We're mainly honestly focused on LinkedIn right now. LinkedIn has been
Yeah, you're doing
performing
LinkedIn.
very, very
You haven't
well.
started the email stuff.
We trickle it in and out. I think our last campaign was about 2 months ago, and then we're working on our different, like we talked about previously, the different domains we own. We're trying to kind of hone in on those and making sure they're set up properly. So we're probably looking to do that as kind of peak season for us comes in here in the winter. But we run LinkedIn year round, and we see a lot of success there, which is pretty much as far as it's run, set up, how you get prospects, pretty similar, I would say. Though.
Yeah. So the minimal the email stuff you've done so far. How big are the lists you're sending to?
So for email, I'd say probably anywhere from 1,500 to 4,000.
Okay.
I would say around there. I think we stick around.
If you're doing that, over time, that can lead to a lot.
Yep.
So similarly, we're doing kind of this. We've been doing this for a couple of years now, and for instance, all of last year, all of 2024, we were sending to a list we had built up over the years of about 10,000 IT prospects, right? Drip campaign kind of stuff, like at least one email a week, doing a campaign, like a monthly campaign that have different subjects within that subject matter of the campaign each week to kind of lead up to some sort of, let's say, webinar, or usually it was kind of an on-demand webinar that was pre-recorded to try to get them, to be interested in whatever content's best for them. Right. And so we've been doing that for about a year to that list from a specific email address. So what we had done is we decided we didn't want to do an info ad or a marketing ad or a sales ad. So we want it to be kind of like a real person that's sending this. And obviously it's not, most people know that, but we wanted it to come from a name. So we took our owl for Panacea Solutions and our logo, we named her Olivia, and all of our marketing goes out from Olivia, right? Olivia at PanaceaSolutionsLLC.com.
Yep.
And great, no problems. We've been doing that for a long time. And more recently here in the last few months, we've upped our other campaigns from our other services, like our revenue cycle management and our digital marketing and our scribe services, right? And those go out of our marketing department from Olivia as well at that same email address. Well, when you're sending out a 10,000 user list once every week, and then those other lists aren't the same list, but there's a little bit of carryover, because the biggest list is with IT, because you can work with anybody in IT, but the other stuff is more honed in specifically on a type of prospect that we're going for. And those lists are a little bit smaller, but there's still a couple thousand. So we're probably sending, 50,000 plus emails a week from our domain, our company domain, which is sitting on our cloud server, and we go through Microsoft. All right. So never had any problems. Over the last couple weeks, well, actually over the last couple months, we've been noticing more often that our emails are getting into people's spam. Not everybody's, but it's especially new people that have not gotten an email from us before, even if it's an email from me or me sending a proposal or whatever. We couldn't really tell from a email campaign standpoint, because we don't get very many unsubscribes. So we're not pissing people off, right? And we don't, because one of the things you got to do is you got to have that unsubscribe. It's got to be a single click kind of opportunity to do that. So that's what we do. And we're not getting any complaints, because our campaign software will tell us if people are complaining about our emails. We're not getting any of those. We get very little unsubscribes. So we're thinking everything's cool. And it's not telling us if we're getting any bounces or anything like that, because it's saying we're not getting any bounces. But what we've noticed lately over these last 2 weeks is any of our emails to our clients, to our leads or our prospects that we're having conversations with, all of a sudden it seems like everybody's ghosting us. Not everybody, at least half of our people are ghosting us. We're like, what's going on? Well, what started happening is I'd send an email last week and I'd get a bounce back and says, such and such, at such and such.com is flagged your email, PanaceaSolutionsLLC.com, as spam, and it's been rejected. We're like, what the heck's going on? So put in a ticket with our guys. They're looking into it, and they find out that, email out of Microsoft, and this is what most email providers have, is they go out via 2 different IP addresses. One is your standard high reputation email address, and they reserve a lower reputation, IP address, and they reserve a lower reputation IP address for anything that gets possibly flagged as spam. And it's the way these companies like Microsoft and or Google protect themselves from propagating people who are sending spam, right? Now, we're not spamming people. We're very conservative about our campaigns and stuff, and we don't do it a whole lot. It's once a week. But because of our volume, it was going over thresholds that they're invisible thresholds, by the way, too, because Microsoft says we don't advertise what our thresholds are for how much is too much per day or per week, because we don't want people gaming the system.
Right.
Okay, fair enough. So keep that in mind. They won't tell you what the top end is. So we were apparently going over that top end. So Microsoft, instead of using the normal IP, which is great, smooth IP, no problem, they were using a lower reputation IP, which Google recognizes as a possible spam IP. So for a couple months, it's just seeing email from that IP from us and putting it into the recipient's spam. You're one of those recipients, because the other day I tried emailing you to give you this link and it bounced it back. I'm like, what the heck? This is before I knew what was going on last week. But now that we know, so we've filled out forms that you have to with Google, and you got to do all this stuff, and you go in a queue, and eventually they get to it and they can whitelist it.
You're right.
If they want to, right? So we're in the middle of this, having done things right. So we set up all, this domain was properly set up with the two different sending software that we use for our campaigns to have all the right, back end stuff to make everything authenticate properly. Nothing is wrong with any of that. It was just the volume. Microsoft has its own system in place that pushes you to a different IP if they don't like the high volume per day, because they don't want to deal with it. They just want to. They're just going to assume you're doing something you're not supposed to do, and they'll put you there. And then boom, doing that long enough with Google finally said, nope, we're just going to blacklist your IP, and nobody gets any of your emails that's on our servers anymore. So anybody that we email that has their inboxes on Google servers is bouncing back from us.
Interesting.
So now, we're in panic mode. We got to fix this. So we're calling clients, letting them know. And at the same time, we're like, okay, we got to set up separate accounts. So we have extra domains. We have different domains that we can use that we've bought because we don't want other people to have them and be too close to what we are. So we're setting up different accounts on these domains so that at least, like for instance, Bob, who's my caller to book appointments for IT for me, he booked an appointment today with a school, and he sent them an invite and it bounced back because they use Google. So it's biting us in the butt right now. And I only bring this up. I'm not embarrassed. This is business. This is the things you got to overcome, and you can't always see coming. And sometimes you do things and you don't know that you're doing them not the ideal way. But so anybody who picks up on this or listens to this, make sure from a standpoint, if you're handling internally, your email campaigns and stuff like that, because you don't want to pay somebody else to do it. If you're paying somebody else to do it, make sure they're doing it the right way. They should be. And if you're going to do it, the ideal way to do is either have your own internal servers, have your own internal Exchange servers that you're sending your emails out on. That way you understand what the volumes are, and you can control the IP addresses it goes out on. If you're using cloud services, you don't get any control of that. The other thing to do is find reputable mass mail servers to push your campaigns out on. So we're going to do one of those two things, probably not set up an internal server or anything like that. We're probably going to just find a service that pushes out those things and that we can hold to an SLA, but it's a pretty crappy situation right now.
Yep.
But
Yep, that happened to us a few years ago too, and it's just pretty much the same thing. We use Google, but any email that comes out from that domain, they're just flagging as spam. So it's unfortunate, but that's how you learn to live another day.
Yeah, and it probably happens to a lot of people, and until it happens to you, don't really know. Yep. You know what I mean? That it's gonna happen because you're by law of the land, and some of these things that Google and Microsoft, they're the two biggest players when it comes to email that they have in place. They don't necessarily tell you that they're changing their protocols and their processes. You know what I mean?
Yep. 100%.
Or maybe they do, and it's a random email that you don't have time to read.
Yep.
So, yeah, if you're emailing lots and lots of people, don't be like us. Do it the right way. But now we know.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we learned from it. And we'll get it fixed, and everything will be fine. It's just a headache right now.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah. So let's see what else we got here. Moving on. We talked about the poker stuff for you, so that's cool. Oh, here's another thing that I wanted to cover today, and that is kind of managing team performance expectations. And this could go across the way. This could go for your business. This could go if you're coaching a team. This could go for your your kids, your your significant other, whatever. But one of the things that I'm dealing with right now, or what we are, is when you bring new people in, you've got a specific kind of you got a seat, a chair at the team table that you need filled, and certain things that you need performed, right? You need results. And what I'm finding is, even though you can get together with your hiring team and you can say, here's who we need, here's what the skills they need, here's the experiences they should come to the table with, because we don't want to spend 2 months training them to do these things. So when we hire somebody, we need them to have A, B, and C, so they can come to the company, spend a week training on the company, and then let them loose getting results, right? And so I learned today that we've had somebody for like a month on the team. This is my team that we hired specifically to have certain skills, that this person has the base skills, but not the advanced skills that we said we needed this time, because we didn't want to go through with like we did with the last two people over the last 2 years of having to teach them those skills only to have them find that they couldn't learn them. You know what I mean? And then, so here I am again. And it's like, dang it. Part of the issue is that it's really hard to manage a team from across the world. It really is. Especially if they don't work the exact times you do. Because there's a little bit of crossover, but if I'm here for the first 4 hours of my day and it's the last 4 hours of their day, I'm super busy the first 4 hours of my day. And it starts to slow down and I can start to check in, but they're done. They're checked out. They're gone. So I'm leaving notes like, hey, I need you to get this done. And then, so yeah, that's tricky. Have you ever run into that with either folks that you've hired to kind of work on your team, or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. I've definitely worked with, different designers or maybe animators, things of that nature, that said they could do something, and, they deliver a product and it's not really to the quality or standards we want. We've been able to, kind of take care of that and mitigate the risks there by, just with our contracts and things like that. But it still is like, kind of going back to the email thing, it's just time consuming and you got to go back and forth and all that stuff. And it just shows the real value of, high performing, team members, people on your team. It just, when you really get a good person, just to really know, now I like to think we've got a really good kind of base people, and to have that, want to take care of them and keep them on your team. Cause it really is, rare to, find exactly what you're looking for in today's, market out there.
Yeah. And the person's been with us for, I think, over a month now. And today is the first time I've met with the person. And I've been asking about what they've been up to for a while. And it's always like, oh, they're doing their training. And I'm like, shouldn't be doing any training outside of the first week. Because didn't we hire somebody that knows how to do this? And yeah, it's a little frustrating. It's a little frustrating. So I'm going to give this person the opportunity to show me that they can do it. But I got off the call today and talked with, my manager of the team. And he's like, yeah, this person's struggling with this type of content. I go, that's specifically the type of content we were hiring to be able to do. So that's a little frustrating. So, and when it's an employee, it's not as easy to just say, hey, you're not doing your end of the bargain. Peace out. Because they've taken a risk on coming to your company. You've taken a risk by bringing them on. And I'm never super flippant with just saying, you're fired. I probably should be sometimes, especially in the first 90 days, but I'm kind of a softie. I got to get better at that, but
cool.
So yeah, there's
good
that
stuff. Well, yeah. Well, I'm jumping at 4:30 again today. Did you want to talk sports with the NFL starting
that was
yesterday?
The next thing on the docket. Did you watch the game at all last night between the Cowboys and the Eagles?
Yeah, I did. It was a good game. It had a weather delay for a little bit there. That was kind of interesting. But unfortunately,
I watched the third. I didn't watch the fourth quarter.
Yeah, no, it was a good game. I did want AJ Brown to do well. He's on my fantasy team, my fantasy football team, and he I think got maybe like 2 points.
Yeah,
So that's a little bit of a bummer. I drafted him pretty high, but other than that, yeah, great game. I think people thought the Cowboys were really going to get blown out, and that didn't happen.
it
But
didn't
yeah,
happen.
good game.
It was
And
a
yeah,
fun game to watch. Yeah, especially the first half, it was boom, boom, boom. Not super high scoring, so they weren't like quick strike kind of scoring. It was good kind of grind out, but score in the end type of football. I could tell towards the end of the half that once you start kicking field goals instead of getting touchdowns, that you're probably not going to end up pulling out. And I didn't watch the fourth quarter, but I saw some highlights from the fourth quarter. The Cowboys, CD Lamb dropped a couple big passes where they could have scored and ended up easily winning that game. Obviously they didn't.
yep.
They couldn't close the deal there, but I don't know, maybe that hour delay, got them cold, and cuz from what I could tell the football wasn't as good after the delay.
Yep.
There's no points in the second half, right? Or maybe 3 points, was there?
Yeah, I
One
think
field
maybe
goal?
a field goal or
One
two. I
field
don't
goal?
think there were any tutties though, but yeah, I believe so.
So yeah, so it's funny. Once that rain delay happened, I'm like, I'm gonna go play some Battlefield. So that's what I
Yeah.
did for that hour.
Nice. Nice. Love
But
that.
yeah, that was a good game. Speaking of football, I'm going to a game tonight.
Nice. What game?
High school football, baby. Friday Night Lights.
Nice. Love it. Love
I
it.
haven't been to a high school football game since I was playing high school football. It's
Yeah.
crazy. And so my son's in high school now. He doesn't play, but he's at a small school, so they're 2-0 right now, and they got a home game tonight. So I'm going to take him and my older daughter, and we're going to go watch the game. Hopefully the weather is nice. I think it's going to be a cool, nice fallish kind of Friday night game. But yeah, shout out to Manitowoc Lutheran Lancers versus the Howards Grove Tigers. So it should be pretty cool. I'm excited.
Nice.
I'm kind
Nice.
of
Yeah,
bummed that my wife and my other two kiddos aren't going to come. They're sick, so we don't
sorry to
want
hear
to
that.
send them out in the elements for the evening. But it'd be fun
Yep.
to have the whole family there. But
No, that will be fun. No, that's great. And yeah, I haven't been to one probably since about that time too, back in high school, maybe first year into college when I came back home. But no, the environment should be fun, and like you said, the cool fall weather, that'll be a cool vibe going on. So yeah,
oh yeah,
enjoy it.
bring a blanket and sweatshirt and
Yep.
But no, it'll be fun. I'm excited. I'll report back on how it went on Monday. But yeah, let's wrap this
Nice.
thing up. What is it? 4:28 right now. It's a good show. It
Yes,
went
sir.
fast.
Yeah, it did, but a lot of good things. Talked the poker. We did a little bit of our business segment, got our sports segment in. So yeah, all
Hey,
around.
well, teaser, we got a guest next week.
Okay, cool.
Next week, Thursday, we're bringing in a guest, a practice manager named Joshua James from one of our clients. He's a really cool dude. Want to bring him in and talk to him about what it's like running a medical practice from a business standpoint. So it should be good. I don't know yet if he's going to be here in the seat or if he's going to join us on Riverside, but one of the two. Either way, it should be awesome.
Nice. Yeah, well, looking forward to it. I think that'll be our second guest in the past few weeks, so that'll be great. And other than that, yeah, have a great weekend and have a good Friday Night Lights, and we will be reporting back on Monday.
Sounds good, bud. Take care.
Awesome. Yep. See you guys.
Yep.